Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today I'm going to be doing a top 10 list, and today's top 10 centers around deck building games, my top 10 favorite deck building games. Now, if you're not familiar, what is a deck building game? Most of the time, a deck building game is everybody starts with a starting group of cards. Most of the time, they're all the same. And then throughout the game, you are adding cards into that deck, improving that deck in some way or form, and then you're kind of shuffling through those cards, revealing them, and your deck's just getting better and better as the game goes on. Now, that is traditionally what the game deck building game is, and the first game that came out that was doing that was Dominion. And spoiler alert, Dominion's not on my list, even though I know a lot of people are going to say, no, you have to have Dominion on a deck building top 10 list. I like Dominion. It's just not, I like these other games better. But, you have to give props to the godfather of deck building games with Dominion. It has it has sparked an entire genre of games. I mean, everyone takes after Dominion and builds their game after that. But how did I order this list specifically today? I picked my 10 favorite deck building games, and then after that, I wasn't sure how I wanted to order them. Whether I wanted to order it on how much I liked the deck building in that game, or order them in what game was my favorite out of these 10. Ultimately, I decided to just order them, which, like, my number one is my favorite game that involves deck building. It's not necessarily my favorite game for deck building per se, but it's my favorite one that involves deck building in some aspects. But let's just jump into number 10 right away. Number 10 is Moonrakers. Moonrakers is a relatively new game. And what Moonrakers is kind of known for, you've got your deck building and you're going to go out on missions. But you get to choose as the mission leader, if it's your turn, who you want to take with for missions. And this isn't a cooperative game, but you're going to have to cooperate with people. So you're deciding who's going to go on this mission with you and help you. And then you are going to negotiate the rewards for that mission. Like, you want the points, you want the cards, you want this, you want that. And then if you succeed in the mission, then you get the rewards, and you're going to split them up however you had decided before. It's kind of like deck building meets Catan in a way. And Catan, like, the best thing about Catan is the negotiating. This is very much like that. And there's backstabbing in this game. And yeah, I just think it's interesting to mash up negotiation and deck building. So yeah, number 10 is Moonrakers. Let's go to number 9. Number 9 is The Quest for El Dorado. The Quest for El Dorado is a racing game that has deck building in it. You are going to be deck building these, you're going to be building your deck, and you're going to reveal your cards, and the cards that are revealed, that's the terrain that you can cross. Like, if you have a green machete, you can cross the green grassland area. But if you want to cross the water, you're going to need a water ore card. And it's a very simple game, and you're just moving across the board, racing the others, trying to be the first to the finish line while building your deck, improving those cards in order to travel faster across this board. It's a really good game. It's a good introduction game. If I was going to make a top 10 intro games list, this would be on it. It's one that's simple, fun, easy to break out. Yeah, number 9, The Quest for El Dorado. Going to number 8. Number 8 is Star Realms. Star Realms is a tiny, tiny little game. Comes in a box about this big if you just have the base game. Let me say that. And it's just a 2-player deck building game that you're battling other people. You're taking your spaceships, battling others, trying to take their health down to 0. It's a good filler game. And to put what they have do what they've done in a tiny little box like that, I think is absolutely wonderful. It's a pretty relatively simple game to learn, simple game to teach, but it's one that I really like. It's a great filler game. So number 8, Star Realms. Going to number 7. Number 7 is a game that I've actually never played in person, the physical copy, but I've played it quite a bit online. I've played it a lot on Steam. This is Mystic Vale. Mystic Vale is a deck building game, but it's this card crafting game, actually, because while you are building your deck, you're actually not getting any new cards. You're actually just getting these abilities that you're attaching to already previous cards. And these cards have like sleeves in them, and you're putting these abilities into the card, adding on to the card, changing the card in some way, improving it, and you're just deck building that way, which I think is really, it's ingenious to me that John DeClair has made it. It's a wonderful system, and I think games are going to start using this card crafting system a little bit more. I mean, I've seen a couple games that have started coming out with this system. So yeah, number 7, Mystic Vale. Going to number 6. Number 6 is probably going to be the most controversial pick on this, because people are going to say, this isn't a deck building game. Number 6 is Century Golem Edition. In this game, you only start with 2 cards, and you are taking you're sort of drafting cards, and these cards have abilities on them, and the whole reason to get the cards is you're trying to trade gems, get gems in order to get certain colored of gems to buy golems. Why people probably won't say it's a deck building game is because you are actually just taking your hand of cards and playing one of the cards at a time. You're not shuffling these cards up. You're just playing these cards one at a time, and then once the card is down on the ground, you can't play it again until you take a turn to just rest and take all your cards. But you are definitely deck building in this game. You are trying to synergize your cards, trading gems to do this card, which works well with this card. And yeah, it's a really good game. It's definitely a gateway game, in my opinion. I've been very successful showing people this game that are new to board gaming. So yeah, number 6, Century Golem Edition. Going to number 5. Number 5 is Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. Longest, most unnecessary name in board gaming. In this game, there are, I think, 4 or 5 different scenarios in the base box, and each scenario basically is a movie in the Alien movie franchise. It's a very thematic game, and that's the reason why I like it so much. You're playing through each movie, and you know what you're trying to do. You're adding cards into your deck, adding certain people, getting these special abilities, trying to take out these aliens who are moving across the ventilation systems and eventually coming down to attack you. I love the movies, the movie Alien series, and that's probably one of the reasons why I like the Alien board game, is because it feels so thematic. So yeah, number 5 was Legendary Encounters, an alien deck building game. Going to number 4. Number 4 is a mashup of a bunch of mechanisms. This is Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium is a mashup of hand management, deck building, area control, and worker placement. The deck building, and each one of those mechanisms is equally important. The deck building aspect of it is really interesting, though, because the deck building is directly correlated to the worker placement. You're going to need to take certain cards that have locations on them, because you need to play those cards, and you can go to those certain locations with your worker. So I really like how everything works really smooth in this game. Just a bunch of different mechanisms that I like individually, and they've put them all together and managed to do an amazing job in this game. So number 4, Dune Imperium. Let's go to number 3. Number 3, when I made this list, I thought this might be my favorite, but it's number 3 now. This is Clank, a deck building adventure. Now, this is not unlike the Quest for El Dorado. This is sort of a racing game with deck building in it. But in this game, you're going to be deck building, and you're going to be moving from the top of a surface, moving down into this dungeon cave area, collecting different treasures, and you're making clank, which is noise, actually. Some of the cards will cause you to make clank. And your clank is going to go into this baggie, and every once in a while you'll wake up this dragon, and the dragon's going to attack, and you're going to pull out cubes from all the people who've made Clank. Hopefully your cubes aren't getting pulled from that bag, because if you get your cube pulled, that is a hit point, one of your health cubes, and you only have 10. You can only get hit 10 times, and then you're dead. Hopefully you go down into the dungeon, get a bunch of points, get a bunch of treasures, and then make it back up to the top before you are killed by this dragon. There is a ton of like stand-up moments in this game. Every game of this ends with people like standing around the table like, oh, is he gonna get out? Is he gonna get out? You know, he's got a lot of cubes in that bag and this dragon's about to attack. So yeah, number 3, Clank, a deck building adventure. Going to number 2. Number 2 is Viscounts of the West Kingdom. This is an interesting game. This is very much a Euro style game, a point salad game, but it's this slow motion deck building game. You are actually going to only reveal 3 cards at the start of the game, and each time on your turn, one of the cards on the far right is going to fall off, and then you're going to reveal a new card, and you're slowly moving these cards, slowly going through your deck. And what's interesting is that the cards that you pick, that you choose to put in your deck, are very, very important, because you're only going to probably see those cards probably once or twice in a game. And if you pick up a card that just doesn't work with what you're trying to accomplish in this game and it's useless, you're going to have to deal with that, and it's not going to be very efficient, because that card is going to stay in that row of hand, your row of the hand that you have, for 3 turns, unless you can somehow manage to get that out of there. So yeah, the deck building aspect is very, very important if you're trying to accomplish a certain thing in this game. Let's go to finally our number 1 pick, the number 1 deck builder in my mind. This is a game I was not expecting to be number 1, but it just keeps going up and up and up, and I keep enjoying it more and more the more I play it. It's the game that's right behind me. This is The Loop. I would never have imagined this would be my favorite deck building game, but I like everything about this game. It is, you're moving around this board, the circular board, trying to take care of Dr. Fu's clones and stuff like that while deck building. And the cards that you're deck building with, you're getting them in a very unique manner. By the spot that you end in the board, hopefully there's a card in that era, and then you can add that into your deck. But instead putting it in your discard pile, like most deck building games, you're putting it on top, so you know exactly what card is coming up next in your deck building deck. But what I really, really like about The Loop is the mechanism of dropping these rift cubes in the Dr. Fu like time pipe or whatever it is, the circular tube that's on the board. You're going to drop those cubes in there, and there's 3 little arms that are on there, and you're dropping those in there, and it's just randomized where these cubes are going, and you don't want them to go into certain areas, because it's very much Pandemic-ish. You can definitely tell Pandemic inspired this, but I love that mechanism of dropping those rift cubes in there and just hoping and praying that the cubes aren't going to go into certain eras to cause these vortexes in time to make you lose the game. Yeah, I love The Loop, and it keeps keeps going up and up on my list of favorite games of all time. It's probably in my top 10 favorite games of all time at this point now. So yeah, it's one that I just adore and like everything about it. Some honorable mentions before I end this video. There's Harry Potter, The Hogwarts Battle, just barely missed out. Dominion, like I said before, just missed out. Aeons and Legacy just missed out. They're all in like my top 15. Just a couple honorable mentions to talk about. But let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite deck building game, or your couple favorite deck building games? Either way, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone.